I am 92 years old, and there is something I wish someone had told me when I was young. Most people choose the wrong partner, not because they are foolish, but because they are young, emotional, and hopeful. My name is Madison, and the mistake I am about to tell you about shaped almost my entire life. When I was 22 years old, I believed love was supposed to feel powerful every single day. I believed if two people felt strong emotions, that meant they were meant to be together. No one explained to me that feelings can be very convincing liars. Young hearts are easy to impress. Someone looks at you in a certain way. Someone says the right words. Someone makes you feel important. And suddenly your mind begins writing a beautiful story. A story about destiny. A story about forever. That is exactly what happened to me. I met a man at a friend's birthday dinner. He was confident and charming. When he spoke, everyone listened. When he laughed, the whole room seemed warmer. But when he looked at me, it felt different. It felt like I was the only person in the room. That feeling can be very dangerous when you are young, because when someone makes you feel special, your brain starts protecting that feeling. It ignores small warning signs. And there were warning signs. Looking back now, they were very clear. He rarely asked questions about my dreams. He talked mostly about his own plans. He liked being admired more than he liked understanding people. But when you are 22, you do not look for quiet qualities like kindness and patience. You look for excitement. You look for chemistry. You look for that strange electric feeling in your chest. And I felt that electricity every time I saw him. So when he asked me to marry him 2 years later, I said yes without hesitation. My parents were polite, but I remember my father's eyes that evening. There was concern in them. He said something simple that I ignored. He said, "Madison, attraction is loud, but character is quiet." I did not understand what he meant. At 24, I believed love would solve everything. Our wedding was beautiful. Friends were smiling. Music was playing. Everyone said we looked perfect together. And for a short time, things felt perfect. But real life does not stay in the honeymoon stage for very long. Small things began to appear. When I spoke about my ideas, he interrupted. When I disagreed with him, he became cold and distant. When I tried to discuss problems, he dismissed them as unimportant. I remember one evening very clearly. We were sitting at the dinner table, and I was telling him about a job opportunity I was excited about. He laughed and said something that hurt more than I expected. He said, You think too much about things that do not matter. I sat there quietly, and something inside me felt smaller. But I told myself it was nothing. Young people often do that. They minimize pain because they want the relationship to survive. Years passed. Arguments became more frequent. Silence became more common. The man who once made my heart race slowly became someone I struggled to understand. We were not enemies, but we were not truly partners either. We were two people who had chosen each other during a moment of emotional excitement, and then we spent years trying to make that choice work. Here is something young people rarely realize. Attraction is not compatibility. Your brain reacts strongly when it feels novelty and excitement. Chemicals like dopamine make everything feel intense and meaningful. But those chemicals do not measure character. They do not measure patience. They do not measure emotional maturity. They only measure excitement. That is why so many relationships begin with passion and end with confusion. The brain chooses excitement, but life requires stability, and stability is something people often overlook when they are young. In my 30s, I started noticing something painful. The couples who seemed calm and respectful with each other were happier than the couples who looked passionately in love. The quiet relationships lasted longer. The dramatic ones slowly collapsed. It took me decades to understand why. Peace is more valuable than excitement. Respect is more valuable than attraction. Understanding is more valuable than chemistry. But young people rarely chase those things. They chase feelings, and feelings change. Life continued. We built a life together, but deep inside, I always knew something was missing. Not love, but alignment. Our values were different. Our ways of handling problems were different. Our visions for life were different. Those differences do not always appear during the exciting beginning. They appear slowly over time. And by then, your lives are already connected. By the time I reached my 60s, I understood something clearly. Choosing a partner is one of the most important decisions of your entire life. It affects your happiness. It affects your mental peace. It even affects your physical health. The person you share your life with will shape your daily emotions for decades. Yet most people choose that person while they are very young and emotionally overwhelmed. It is one of life's strange ironies. The most important decision is often made with the least experience. Now I am 92 years old. I sit in a quiet house most evenings, thinking about the long road behind me, and I do not feel anger. I do not feel bitterness, but I do feel understanding. If I could speak to my younger self, I would say something very simple. Do not choose the person who excites you the most. Choose the person who respects you the most. Choose the person who listens when you speak. Choose the person who remains calm when problems appear. Choose the person whose values match your own, because attraction fades, but character stays, kindness stays, respect stays. Those are the things that build peaceful lives. When you reach my age, excitement will not matter anymore. What will matter is whether the person beside you made your life calmer or more difficult. Life moves faster than young people realize. One day you are 22 and dreaming about the future. The next day you are 92, remembering the past. And the choices in between shape everything. My name is Madison. I have lived a long life, and I have made my share of mistakes. But if my story helps you think carefully before choosing who walks beside you in life, then perhaps these many years have taught something meaningful. And if you would like to hear more quiet truths about life, relationships, and the lessons that only time reveals, subscribe to this channel. There are many things people only understand when they grow old. And while I am still here, I would like to share them with you.